Right then, people, welcome back to the Magpie Channel TV. I'm back home now. It's a couple hours after the full-time whistle is blown at St James's Park. A frustrating 0-0, a frustrating end to what, of course, has been a brilliant year for Eddie Howe's Magpies. And before I get into the game, I just want to say congratulations to Leeds United. Well done, Leeds United, and all their fans on winning that game 0-0. Good 0-0 win that. Good 0-0 win that. Take that back to Leeds ways. Hope you enjoy it. Take it to the New Year ways, right? 0-0 win for Leeds. Marvellous. Round of applause. God almighty. Their fans are quite unbearable, aren't they? I mean, celebrating that 0-0 there. I mean, to be fair, right, maybe that's a point that might keep them up at the end of the season, so maybe that's why they're celebrating, but they are an awful bunch, and there was some scenes at the end of the game where the police had to separate the fans and whatnot, and oh, sad from them. Sad from the manager as well, Jesse March and his players. I thought that was an awful set out plan by their team today. Crap. I thought Leeds were this expansive, free-flowing football team. Is this American guy still the same? Captain America? Captain Jackass? Is he still the same as Bielsa? No? Where was it? I didn't see it. I seen dirty Sunday League tactics today. Awful. Proper pub team behaviour from them today. All they wanted to do was waste time, scruffy play, dirty play, snapping into people, trying to cause reactions of certain players like Joe Linton, trying to snap everyone. Oh, it was crap to watch. They ruined it. And that game was set up perfectly for them to do that. Everything fell their way today, including their keeper Melier having an unbelievable game and keeping them into it. If you watch the highlights of that game, it's just Melier making save after save. Now, we'll get into Newcastle in a minute. They should have done better. But Melier has pulled off some fantastic saves, and Leeds have just had dirty tactics throughout. Like I say, time wasting from the second goal and just coming here to get a scruffy 0-0. That's all they wanted. The weather played in their hands. It was a horrible day. They absolutely soaking in Newcastle today. Freezing, rainy, windy. Perfect for Leeds in their style of play today. Absolutely perfect. Suited them down to a T. And they just came here with that. You know what it is? Fair play. If that's what they wanted, if that, they wanted the point, they got the point. Jesse Marsh and the boys might be happy on that coach back to Yorkshire, thinking, well, that point may keep us up at the end of the season. There you go. If you come away from home and that's what you're after, then fair enough. You just thought on New Year's, you maybe try and put in a performance. Eddie Howe, a few other people expected a good game today. I said it in my preview. I said it would either be a hammering or a banana skin. And thankfully it wasn't a full banana skin. We didn't get a full banana milkshake today thrown in my face. Because if they had nicked it at the end and snatched a horrible win, that would have been extra banana-y. But yeah, it would have been awful. Would have been an awful banana skin, that mouldy. Do you know what I mean? That would have been too much if they had managed to do that. That would have been a right stinker for us. And it could have possibly been that way. Teams when they keep it at 0-0, they can go up the other end and do that. God knows we did it enough under Bruce and even Rafa. But thankfully it wasn't a full-blown banana skin. But I just said that because we were looking for 7 wins in a row today. And what a record that would have been. And to be fair, we should have won that game. We still should have won that game. We still had some big chances in that game. For the lack of cutting edge in the final third, we're still creating more than enough. I mean, Fabian Shaw has had 2 or 3 massive chances. The header at the end, saved from Melier, is a brilliant save, but he's had a great chance where he's put it over the bar. Sean Longstaff, my God, Sean Longstaff over the bar. He's got to score as well. Longstaff has got to bury that. Chris Wood as well, man. Chris Wood against his former side. How long did he take to get his shot away and just hit it straight at Melier? Just dink it, Wood, and he hits it straight at Melier. He's got to score. That's the best chance. Wood's got to score. And for me, Eddie Howe's took too long there. Eddie Howe should have made the changes earlier. I think 35 minutes. You could see we needed someone to run in between the lines. You needed Callum Wilson there, and that game was suited perfectly for St Maximin. Those changes got to be made at half time, not after the 60-minute mark from Eddie. Because those would have made a difference, especially that first half. The amount of times Bruno picked up the ball middle of the park, Joe Willock's running, looking for options, and Wood's just there scratching his arse. There's no movement up top. There was no movement. There was no runs. We needed Wilson on the shoulder of the last man. We needed St Maximin to run at defenders and cause them problems, which he did when he came on, but it was just a bit too little too late. And Leeds knew everything was going through St Maximin, so they were just doubling and tripling up on him in the last 5-10 minutes. So, like I say, too little too late. I think St could have really impacted that game a lot more if he had been given more time. Maybe even today, you switch it up. It's an unchanged side again from a few days ago. Why not maybe drop Joe Linton on midfield and put St Maximin on left wing? Wilson's on the bench. Is he fit enough to start? give them a go. But it was one of those days. Listen, don't want to be negative. What a year it's been for Newcastle. What a turnaround it's been from this time last year in the bottom three. Now Newcastle finished 2022 in the top four. We're still in the Champions League places. I think it's 5 clean sheets in a row or something mental like that. You know, defensive record's still solid. It's another clean sheet a day. We're still unbeaten at home. Newcastle, so that's a big positive. It would have just been obviously nice to finish this year off with an expected win, because Leeds are right the way down there. But nothing is expected in the Premier League. Nothing is a given. Look at Manchester City, who've drawn today with Everton, with Frank Lampard struggling toffees. Pep Guardiola said he couldn't beat them at home. That was 1-1. So you're going to get days like this up at the office. I think Newcastle could have kept on playing until next New Year's and we wouldn't have scored. It was just one of those days. The ball just wasn't going to go in the back of the net. It was a tricky game under tricky conditions with a tricky side, making life difficult coming here. And we'll have to get used to that. We'll have to get used to teams coming here, making life difficult, getting in with faces, being scrappy. We'll have to get used to it, because that'll be the way that a lot of teams will try and stop our style of play, our intensity and everything else. So, yeah, it just wouldn't fall today. We missed Wilson maybe starting. We need Isak to come back, maybe freshen things up. I don't think Bruno had his best game. Trippier's, we had so many set pieces and we just did not make them count. We had corner after corner, free kick after free kick. The referees were crap today. The officials were poor. He was so slow to get his cards out, the official, to boot the Leeds players. But yeah, Trippier's delivery, there was moans and groans around me at St James's Park where they were sick of it just going into the Leeds' keeper's hands. But it's just one of those days, isn't it? I mean, we kind of win every week. Nobody wins every week. So we just pick ourselves up, that old cliche, and go again in, a couple of days' time. You know, we've got a very difficult trip to high-flying, top of the table Arsenal on the 3rd of January, is it? So that's going to be a big test. That's why it would have been nice to obviously get the win today to make sure we went into that game on a high and keep the winning run going for at least until we get to the Emirates, because that's going to be a tough game. But I wouldn't be surprised if Newcastle go there and win. And the preview will be coming up with that, probably with Robbie or an EFTV guest. But at the same time, how well Arsenal are playing, you wouldn't fancy it. But the way Newcastle, you draw against Leeds, you beat Arsenal, that's the kind of thing that happens in football. That is football. But that is Newcastle United's 2022 wrapped up. It's a draw at home. Not the best result, not the worst result. Obviously, you know, we haven't won, but we haven't lost. I'm sounding like Mike Malone now. I must be getting tired. I'm pointing out the obvious. Right, I'm going to finish it there because I don't want to sound like Mike Malone any longer. But I don't want to be negative. The lads have played well today, just couldn't get that final finish, that final touch. Their keeper had a very good game, and they were awful tactics and scrappy players. But that's it. Leeds have got their point. Newcastle got a point. See how it goes in the new year. Loads to be excited about. Just a shame we couldn't, the atmosphere would have been bouncing, the roof would have been off tonight if we had have won that game against Leeds on New Year's Eve. But we're still unbeaten at home, another clean sheet. We'll take the positives and we'll move into what could be a very exciting and very good 2023. Again, Happy New Year, everyone. Hope you enjoy your celebrations heading into the New Year's tonight at midnight. Subscribe to the Magpie Channel TV and enjoy yourself.